Welcome to this STB-1 replay. The STB-1 in this one is being played by Cheezix, and he's currently a member of Clan Super. While this match was played, he was still in another clan, and he sent it to me asking if I would check it out and possibly make a replay of it. And so here it is. It's a really good match in the STB-1, showing how to, I guess, best use it in engagements. You warned up front that the start of the replay would be a little bit slow and boring, which is true. There's not much happening the first few minutes of the replay. Their enemy heavy, or their heavies are pushing the left flank to the pass where usually all the heavies go to brawl on the left side of the map from this direction. And the TDs are going to the right, while the mediums take up positions in the center to see if they can actually snipe something. I myself have only played the STB-1 on the test server, because on the live server I'm only up to the Type 61, which I must say I really like, but the teams I'm getting with it are not that nice. I mean, currently I've got something like an 58% win ratio in it, which is not too bad, but it feels lower. I have to sort of get used to it. It plays slightly different than the STA-1. The main difference being that the STA-1 was a lot lower profile and didn't have the huge cupola on the top. But Cheezix already told me that the STB-1 plays a lot like the Type 61, but the advantage that the STB-1 has is that the turret is a lot more bouncy because it's so flat and nicely rounded. So when you make use of the gun depression, there's a good chance that you'll bounce a lot of shots off your turret. Also compared to for instance, the Leopard 1, which basically if it gets shot by anything, it will be penetrated, because the turret is really round and high in comparison, so it's a really nice shell trap. So after not much happening in the center, Cheezix here moves up, and it's just too late to put shots into the Conqueror. But this Yak Tiger is giving his broadside to everyone, so some free damage here, and the Yak Tiger is taken out. So as we can see at the moment, the scores are 2-2, so they're even. I mean, not good, not bad. It's just a nice start to the match. Artie misses them, and now they take a position on this ridgeline. Again, trying to make use of the gun depression that the STB-1 has, which is its main advantage. And the bad shot shows up. And this is one of the things that's annoying about the STB-1, is the gun is very troll. Accuracy wise, it tends to miss a lot. It's sort of infamous for that. And here he does the right thing, which is to track the bad shot. If the bad shot would have come down that hill, he probably would have died. And as you could see earlier, a Borsig also slammed a 152mm shot into him while he was engaging the Tiger, so he lost about 1,000 health, which is obviously annoying, because it limits your possibilities, because you don't have enough HP to do tanking or to trade health for damage. So it means that he has to be slightly more careful now. So sticking to cover, that Borsig is still on the side there, and Cheezix is just taking cover behind this rock to see what's going to happen, but he gets spotted, and it turns out to be the E50M, which is making use of the fallen tree there that to right cannot. Shot on the front of the turret of the E50M dings. Normally you can shoot the front of the E50M turret pretty well, because it's only 180 armor, so pretty much any tier 10 gun will just go straight through it. It's also a good tip, if one is side scraping against you, just shoot it in the turret. unfortunately the left flank heavy side has fallen, and Cheezix's team is rapidly running out of tanks. It's currently 6 versus a lot, basically, so not really good. Puts a snapshot in, and that seemed to fly true, so it might have actually hit the Borsig. At least it went to the center of the aiming circle, which is good, but Cheezix is relocating to this little ridge line here to see what he can do about the heavies on the left flank. And there we go, IS-3 becomes visible. Put a nice shot in and pull back, but he's not spotted, so that's good. VK comes up, and Cheezix is just delayed to put a shot into his side. And since the VK-4502 has been buffed, it's one of the strongest armored tanks in the game. Arguably, it's just as strong as the mouse at the moment, because the weak spots are really tiny, and the armor is just overall really good. So Cheezix is switching to heat here, but luckily his friend takes out the VK, which is good. He switches back to regular APCR to engage the IS-3, which shows a really nice awareness as well of shells, because normally a lot of people would have just fired that heat shell into the enemy tank and then switched to the regular shells, and the bad shot comes back again. Cheezix is just delayed to put a shot into him, and he retreats, but the T-44 comes charging across the open, and Cheezix takes him out. So now it's just the IS-3 and the E-100 left on this side. Carefully pokes, and the RT takes out the IS-3, so now it's just the E-100, and his platoon mate in the STB-1 is going after the Batchat and the E-50M. E-100, while he's a good player, he's got something like 2100 WN8, decides to climb the ridge without having any gun depression, so yeah, not a strong tactic. He spots Cheezix, shoots into the ground, luckily for Cheezix, and Cheezix doesn't track him, unfortunately. So he knows he has the reload on the E-100, so he puts a nice shot into the lower front plate and retreats. And RT smacks a shell into the side of the E-100 for a lot of damage. Which is funny, because the shells seem to come from the left, but yeah, it might just be the view. E-50M pokes the ridge with the side exposed, so gets taken out. So not too strong play, and the ISU just barely misses Cheezix. He's really lucky there, and the Borsig misses him as well. He puts a nice shot into the ISU and retreats back over the ridge line. So now it's just these two STB-1s against 3 TDs and an RT. Well, they've got the RT still, but he's now in a position where he can't actually put effective fire down. And Cheezix does something interesting here, because I've never actually gone to this little flank. I mean, I've attacked this little dip here from the other side, but I've never actually played on this side and been in this dip. But it looks like a really nice spot, because you can get pretty much to the other side of the map without being spotted, because they put a lot of nice little ridge lines there. So his friend is staying in the center, while Cheezix is moving to the RT to back him up, because there's 2 TDs on this side of the map, and the ISU is on the left. And Cheezix managed to put a nice shot into him, and the ISU moves up and dubs his friend in the face. So that's unfortunate. And again, troll accuracy, it misses the ISU, even though it was filling a lot of the aiming reticle. And this is unfortunate, because now it's 2 against 4. Which, yeah, is not good odds, especially not with so many 750 damage guns in play. Cheezix uses auto aim to slam one into the Borsig, and luckily the Borsig shoots into the ground. And the great rate of fire of the STB-1, which is one of the other advantages, makes sure that he can actually take out the Borsig without taking any damage in return, which is good. So now the odds are 2 versus 3. Still 2 ISUs, which are not tanks to make fun of. They've got really nice guns, and yeah, really good penetration. So what he now needs to do is make sure that he spots them before they spot him. So he's making use of the many rocks and bushes that are on this spot of the map to see if he can spot something. ISU was last seen there, but it doesn't look like he's coming over the ridge. So he's not as dumb as the E100 was. So Cheezix pulls back a little and decides to take a look again on the other side of the map, because now he's got to take into account that he's got multiple angles where they can actually come from. And there's one ISU coming over the ridge, puts a shot in and keeps going. The ISU can not put the gun on him, which made him manage to get away. He kills one ISU and the other one actually showed up from the other side, so that was really good timing by both ISUs actually. They came over the edge both at the same time, so Cheezix could only focus on one, and unfortunately the other one took the arty out. So troll accuracy again, shot goes into the front, into the ground in front of the ISU, and Cheezix decides to get out of there again, because a frontal engagement with an ISU is not really what you want. So again, he makes great use of the terrain here to try and go around the ISU, which decided to run down the hill. Cheezix spots him and he gets spotted as well, and he puts a shot into the ISU, and now the problem is that he's within 50 meters of the ISU, so he will be spotted all the time. You can see the little circle on the minimap, and that's basically the forced detection range. If an enemy tank gets within that range, it is automatically detected, and you are automatically detected even if there's a million bushes in front. So what he does is he breaks contact and then he goes around again. So we don't know what the ISU is doing, but he's coming over the edge, and Cheezix managed to put the last shot into him, killing him. So that's 5 kills, and now evasive maneuvers, because the artillery is still in play, and luckily the artillery misses. And yeah, that was a really good engagement. As I said at the start of the replay, it was a little bit slow, but the fight really picked up towards the middle and the end. So it demonstrates perfectly well what the STB-1 is capable of, and I can certainly learn something from this play for my Type 61, because the problem is as well, I'm far too aggressive with my Type 61, always at the front line, and that simply doesn't work when you've got no armor. So I guess that's also why I don't really like the Leopard prototype, but it's more my playing style than the actual tank, because both tanks are really great. And the Friendly Ice 3 notes that there is not much time left. There's barely a minute left, and Cheezix is going to the left side of the map, because I guess he thought the arty fire was coming from here. I didn't pay attention to where the arty was shooting from, but he must have had his reasons to go to this side. Just looking for him, but it's 45 seconds on the clock now, and it's cutting it really close at the moment. So he moves back and loops back to where all the heavies were killed, climbing up the hill. Maybe he can see him there, maybe somewhere in base, but he's not. He's on the right hand side, and he gets spotted by the arty. But luckily the arty does a clutch shot and doesn't miraculously hit, so Cheezix is able to take him out. So that is an ace tanker badge in the STB-1, coupled with a top gun and a high caliber. So I hope you liked the replay. I certainly did. If you did, please rate it and possibly subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.